How often have you wished that you could travel back in time to skip that dull meeting or pick a cruel response in that disagreement last week? Time travel may sound like some fantastical event that only appears in science fiction films, but it truly happens regularly. Time is not a constant, according to Albert Einstein. Rather, it is always advancing, and we are advancing along with it. Time, in Einstein's view, constitutes the fourth dimension. It is combined with three-dimensional space to form a single, continuous four-dimensional space-time. Therefore, it's possible that we just haven't developed a suitable time travel device yet. It is theoretically feasible to construct a time machine, but it wouldn't look like this or this. Rather, it would look more like this, because the key to time travel isn't hidden in a strange substance. You would need a spacecraft that could move almost as quickly as light. We learned from Einstein's theory of relativity that time moves increasingly slower the quicker we move through space. Imagine you were on a spacecraft that was moving at 99.9% the speed of light to an exoplanet that was 20 light years distant and might be habitable. You discover some simple life forms and quickly return to Earth to tell others about your find. But when you return to Earth at last, you notice that all of your coworkers are very, very old. You had only been gone for around 2 years in your eyes. You had been away for 40 years to those on Earth. Time dilation is the term for this occurrence. However, since we currently lack the technology necessary to travel at the speed of light, it is unlikely it will ever happen to you. Apollo 10 reached a speed of 11,000 meters per second, making it the fastest piloted vehicle we have ever produced. The speed required to go through time is close to 299 million meters per second. Additionally, speeding up would generate a strong centrifugal force, a force that would rip you apart even before you approach the speed of light. The simple part is going forward in time. Traveling backwards can cause various issues. Having said that, every time you gaze at the night sky, you are, in a sense, a time traveler yourself. The light from the stars takes a while to reach us on Earth since everything in space is so far away. Thus, when you gaze at a star, you are actually gazing back in time to a moment hundreds of thousands or perhaps millions of years ago when the star was very different. For instance, all you need to do is look at the moon if you want to go through time a bit closer to where you are. You are essentially staring into the moon's past by about a second every time you observe it. This is due to the fact that it needs 1.3 seconds for the light that is reflected from the moon to reach Earth. Therefore, it's not difficult to observe the past, but going back in time is a whole different matter. Wormholes, a type of space-based natural phenomenon, are one way that someone could be able to go back in time. These tunnels could be a link between two separate locations in the cosmos. Wormholes, however, might not just link places in space, but also in time. No wormholes have ever been discovered, to be clear, but science tends to believe that they are not only theoretically possible, but also might be more widespread than we thought. When a wormhole forms, space-time is folded in on itself by a tremendous quantity of gravity connecting two unimaginably distant places. Traveling between them is practically instantaneous. If this is the case, the wormhole might also affect 2 points in time in the same way. In light of this, time travel may be conceivable by entering one end of a wormhole and emerging from the other, if passing through one is viable without being crushed by gravity, torn apart by interdimensional turbulence, or being blinked out of existence by an unknown power. Since the beginning of time travel, there has been another issue that has troubled scientists. The paradox is this: there are a lot of odd things that can occur when going back in time. The grandfather paradox is the most well-known. It works like this. If you're a time traveler who convinces your mother not to get married, then your mother doesn't give birth to you and you don't exist. But who went back in time to convince your mom not to marry your dad if you weren't there? You can see that while time travel may be theoretically conceivable, there are currently significant technological barriers in the way. One is that we haven't even come close to developing a spacecraft that can travel at the speed of light. The primary challenge, which is figuring out how to harness the enormous amount of energy required to propel the ship to the speed of light, must of course be overcome. Humanity still has a long way to go before truly comprehending time and gravity. One day, perhaps, we'll discover a way to travel at the speed of light, or we'll be able to locate wormholes close enough to send astronauts through to explore what is beyond. Having said that, I'm interested to know if you have the courage to volunteer for such a mission. If you could travel through time, would you go back in time or forward into the future?